from that short commercial break, and it's about that time for the topical discussion. And with me today is Javier Sewami. Welcome to the show.
Thank you so much.
Yeah. We are going to look at some of the biggest stories of the earliest hours and earliest days of 2019, and some of the stories that came from last year and entered into this very same year. Well, it's been a week of a lot of activity and a very vibrant week.
Yeah.
For, of course, some of the stories that happened during the week were very sad, but others were, well, the talk of the town. And the region, especially the region, Congo is having an election that doesn't have the incumbent for the first time in a long time.
For the first time in a long time, yes. And you know, the elections in Congo are no difference with what we saw in other countries, what we've been seeing in other countries, including Uganda, that now they are telling me that tension is really high as counting is ongoing. And then yesterday I was reading at BBC that government has blocked TV stations that they say they are proposition.
That follows the turning off of the internet.
That has been a classic on
trick.
Monday last week. They switched off social media like how they did here.
It's been a classic trick in. Although of course Zimbabwe during its time they just increased the tariffs for social media, making it inaffordable for anybody.
So again, we will not see any difference. We are not seeing any difference from any. That is what we see in Africa. That we shall not have any election that we feel like we are all comfortable. Because a day after the elections ended, I think it was Monday, all parties, the opposition was claiming to have won before even the counting, and then the government was also claiming victory. So the tension is high, and what I'm happy is that the incumbent is not part of it. So it is, however much it is the government, it is not a regime change, but then we are seeing a government change, and then we shall see a symbolic transfer of power.
Without force and
yes,
violence.
And that is that's what we want to see in most of these countries. However much it is not like everyone will claim how they leagued and what, but whenever there is a change, any positive change, any change towards a positive direction must be appreciated. So I want to laud Congo and the men who stood out and say Kabila should stand out, because when you see Congo from all those years, they have had the assassination scoops. Why would African president want to go either by force or
by
being assassinated or something like that? We need to see these positive changes, towards a democratic
Africa.
So we are waiting, because because I don't trust I've not trusted the Commission of Congo since day one, because they first did the election for quite a number of times,
and then now Congo faces the same challenge that Uganda faces of having the electoral commission, which is practically controlled by the government.
Yeah, because this guy first told us how the communication house got banned, the commission house, and then the election was delayed. We don't know other details. But then the other day the electoral commission chairman said they will not have the provisional results as they had earlier told us. So for us in Uganda we have 72 hours to have the elections announced. In Congo, election was Sunday. We were expecting the provisional results on Sunday after 1 week.
That's a week into.
Then we expect final results on 15th. That means that those are 2 weeks.
But still looking at the Congo story.
And there are some provinces
that are not going
to vote until March, and when the
president has been sworn in. Well,
that's the comedy.
Very interesting.
That is the comedy, in our countries here,
including some eastern regions of there's the eastern region of the country which is not voting because of the Ebola outbreak.
Yeah. So of course that's what they use, and I say those are the regions that have opposition support. So the government using that as, of course, to people again to to rig. The idea of rigging is not about staffing and what. Those are tricks.
Denying some people from voting.
There's analysts, I know you call them political gerrymandering, something like that. You create conditions that are in your favor. So the government of Congo is now doing that. And in the end of the day, we shall see opposition lose. Yeah.
Well, but still talking about regional stories, it looks like Sudan's Omar Bashir is facing a very hard time.
Yes, and for the first time. Okay, I won't say the first time, but at least the force this time round is very intense. The situation has been tense for now.
Ever since he took power in 1989 through a military coup, he's facing the biggest challenge of his leadership. And according to some analysts, he might go.
Yeah, of course, he's creating now conditions that at least to lower the pressure. That he's now promising better services, promising to lower government expenditures. He's expecting all those things. Economic, to handle economic crisis. But now the pressure, I was reading from an analyst from the Washington Post the other day, and she was saying that the reason why this time around the pressure is high is that the protests did not start within capital, Khartoum, because government has spent a lot of money manning Khartoum, that any time the protests come out, they're able to handle because they have put all they know. In our sitting an incumbent, you have to first take over the city, the capital. So Bashir has done a lot of things to man the capital, but then this time around they started from regional upcountry towns.
That reminds me of in 2011 when the Arab Spring came out. And different presidents in the Arab world were being overthrown and the likes. Bashir survived. Actually, there was an attempt to oust Bashir by protesters, but in 2011 there were two countries which stood out in the Arab Spring, which of course some people call the Islamic Awakening. But in the Arab Spring, there are two countries, Khartoum and Algeria, where it was reported that the number of police were more than the number of protesters. Yeah,
so these African dictators, he can spend a lot on him being in power than what he spends on the people, the population. So Bashir now being in the leadership, because now Bashir first of all is wanted on crimes against humanity, genocide and all other by ICC. Of course we've seen. I did a piece on Sudan. I think it was last week, and I headlined it Sudan protest, inside Sudan protest, a third wave that could elude away Bashir. And of course I've received a lot of reactions from other people who have a different perspective. That was my opinion, and it went viral because it's one of the most read by these days around at where I work. But I looked at very many things that, however, because Sudan, he's wanted, but then you realize that most of African countries have not been respecting the order by ICC, that he has been able to move. He has been, the other day was in Syria, he came to Uganda, he went to different regions, and you see, okay, he's being protected by
his peers.
But of course, they are all under pressure. When you look at here in Uganda, the situation, you can't say it is normal. You can't say that Mr. Museveni is, it is a normal day for him like he used to be in those ends of 1980, 1990s, or 2000. So when you look at most of those countries, they are all in the same basket.
The countries with leaders that came through peculiar ways, overstayed. They are welcome.
And those are people that he dined with. So of course they will protect him because they're all under the same. Their enemy is the same. Their people.
And I think they would want to, when you're a leader that is staying, that has been around for a long time, and the opposition is going to, you didn't want to encourage a trend, especially the trend of other leaders being kicked out of the other countries, because it can come home at any time.
Yes. Some of the feedback, there's an American scholar who wrote back to me via the story I wrote, and wrote back to me using the mail that the reason why Bashir is not going like I wrote in my piece is that because he's wanted by ICC and all other, because of the what he did some years back in Darfur and other regions, that because he's wanted, he will spend as much as possible
to avoid going to the Hague.
Yeah, because the moment he's overthrown, all being removed by any force or by anyone, he will face all those cases. So he will spend as much as possible, as much as he can, to stay. Because now he ordered a probe into the protest. He ordered the police not to use a lot of force.
He ordered the probe.
He has done all those things. He's promising a better future. He's promising lower government expenditures. All those things. But of course, the people are not really, because the process started as after the commodities.
The price of bread was increased.
Increased and all other things, but of course the people are demanding. When you look at the piece I wrote and looking at number of other international agencies, news agencies, I don't really believe that the price of bread start off the protest. I really believe something. People are tired. Being powerful for now 29 years. Or almost 30 decades, something very big, as in, people become tired and feel like, and these African leaders, there is something they don't understand, is that the new wave, and they are in a generation where the people have access to information. They are seeing these things that are elsewhere. You live around those days of 1980s where there was no internet, where you could control information and people don't get it. That's why the colonialists succeeded for so many years. There was no information. Information was only limited to them. But now something happens today in Indonesia. You access in 5 minutes. Before, someone dies in the US, you get information just like 2 minutes after, all less. So that people know that you can't control. Even if you control social media, people will
find other means of finding information.
So that is the situation these people are facing. So it is really so hard for them.
So it has become a trend per se.
Yes.
That when people see, I think that's how the Arab Spring worked out.
Yeah.
When people see a leader going elsewhere, they think
so. They say, we can also do that. And there's something I really believe in. However force, however, I don't know, but you can't.
However mighty an army you have,
you can't defeat people powers in the people if they are determined to do what they want, to change you or to remove you. The moment you start to go against the people, then you are against your regime. You are.
Well, you mentioned talking about people power. Let's come back home, closer to where our hearts are. Bobby Wine was the personality of the year 2018.
Yes.
News personality of the year. He was the most eye-catching news figure of 2018. He beat people like Paul Kagame, Abiy,
and this is Ethiopian
Prime Minister Abiy.
Yes, I really believe he made news, as in I was reading a piece from the African News, and I did vote. Yes, I voted. And you see, when we made news that very year, we can't really.
Yeah, it was his year.
But then, how about us as a country? Because that news was very negative for the country.
Yeah, it was very, very,
very
negative.
Disappearances, people are lawlessness of this, the country, how you come out and and the stage, evidence that he was having a guns and what, all those things.
It was a shame to the state.
Yes,
definitely.
to the country. The other day I was telling you that I was talking to former Seychelles tourism minister. We met at Serena Hotel. I think it was last month. Either last month or November, around, I think either November or something like that. So he told us that when he was invited to give a keynote address, he first Googled about Uganda, and he was surprised that only bad things come. You talk about corruption, he saw the torture things, and all those things. So that is the news. If they talk about Bobi Wine made news, of course, him and the light of Uganda, the news was not like, he was, doing this, but of course they were making evil things against him, and those are the things that made news.
It's not him being the member of parliament, him being
of course, him, being so vocal, him being like how much the intimidation, the torture, again he stood out. That make him to be, to win, because the people was with were not. When you look at that, there were some Congo guy who was, I think, who was in the fight against Ebola. That was very, very blunt. That was, the Ethiopian minister. You've seen how he has changed the country in few months. We've seen Paul Kagame, what he's doing to the African Union. But then you see how Bobi Wine came out to. That means he went through almost hell. You know what happened and was not a usual rhetorical way they usually move. So we congratulate him, and I expect that President Museveni will call him at State House the way he because if that's a State House issue, he has dined with the Cranes, dined with a number of the
Queen
Abenacho, this guy who Chiplotich, he has dined with all people who have come out, victors in any sector, any part. So I expect him to State House. Actually, I still have hope that State House will call him.
But he will not. He will probably.
We don't know. But if the president, he feels like, because
looking at how the man himself thinks, he will not go to State House.
Let them call him, and he just decline. Because we expect the president has been dining with all successful people. Let him call. Let them give him an invitation and see what happens. That's the democracy one.
But looking at another story of that happened and took center stage in 2000, at the end of 2018, was the president's speech, where he came out and talked about combating the likes of crime.
You see, I was writing about Museveni, how Museveni is going to give a speech on that very day, and my headline was Museveni to give New Year message today. And then I called Don Wanyama. He didn't pick up. I tried. I called the phone up, Pondo. He never picked. And I said, I wrote a piece and I was like, how I've failed to get the official communication from the
press secretaries.
Yes. And I said the president is expected to talk about ABCD. The only thing that I didn't mention in what he was going to talk about, it was regional integration. But other things, the way I aligned them. So Museveni is predictable. You expect what he to talk about, and then you can even write what.
Would you say that he's also in survival mode? Because if he's talking about corruption, crime, those are the same issues that affect Ugandans and now.
President Museveni is now, and because you can't say zero tolerance to corruption, and you are dining with the corrupt people. We've seen his Minister Kutesa. He's under international. He has put us again one of the evils that when you go to Google and find and Google, you see corruption. Kutesa is the leading, is the corrupt person. And I won't say because of the court has evidence in UK. They mentioned in the US, they mentioned him, so I'm able to say he
has been implicated.
He's accused of
corruption.
He did say he received the money. And if you say zero tolerance to corruption and anyone dealing with him, you're not allowing the institutions to work, you know, to investigate him, and you create any you are giving him a chance not to be
investigated properly without bias.
Yes. I mean, then what I'm talking about, that you are against corruption. So again we are. So Museveni is you can expect, you can predict what he's going to say, and then he says it. So as if nothing new. Nothing. The only thing he's talked about was digital integration.
But that has been his cry. That has been his cry. His rallying.
Now, when you
cry for.
Yes, the leaders of East African community are, because I was reading the other day from Rwandan New Times, local paper there, that they were accusing Uganda. Kenya was accusing you. In fact, he again accused Uganda of failing regional integration. He says that, how can we trade together when those who crossed your country are jailed, whisked away? We've seen the things of deportation and what and what. There are a number of over 500 people being they're in court. They're actually in prison they say from Rwanda because of illegal entry and carrying out businesses in Uganda. So Kagame says, how can we trade together when those who crossed your borders, cross borders to your country are jailed, whisked away, deported or something? So he says Uganda is failing in integration. He says you cannot claim of regional integration when you are the only one who wants to benefit. You don't want others to benefit. Those who cross to country to do business are facing those challenges.
Well, still some people will say that Museveni is calling for regional integration because he wants to be the chief of the region. That as he integrates maybe the East African community.
I think that's not going to happen today, because we've still failed to appreciate and roll out this doing business together. How can we have our own currency? We have our own language, the passport that we are starting, others are against it, all the things. We can't really have the regional integration like today or tomorrow, like how it is being portrayed. I really don't believe it can happen just like that, the way we are seeing it. And still on the regional integration, we've seen how the issues, if we still fail to agree on issues, you see what's happening between Rwanda and Burundi. Again, Kagame, in his message, end of year message, he accused the two neighboring states that he didn't mention. He says they are sponsoring labor activities in his country. Then Pierre Nkurunziza is accusing Kagame of also sponsoring people who want to
subversive activity in his country as well.
So those are the issues, and to make matters worse, why I don't believe that the integration is going to really succeed is that after Museveni, I think they had a regional summit. It was supposed to be last year in December. Then it was pushed to 26th. Again, it was pushed to this year, a date that is not mentioned. But after that, after Museveni, because Museveni will be handing over power to another leader, which is expected to be Kagame. So if the two are colliding, then how will we have them sit when the other is the head? So we are not expecting the integration to happen because everyone has different interests. We're not having a common pact, a common thing that binds us together. And until we solve that, then, because you've seen in 2014, they were talking about the standard gauge railway. You've seen how they have still failed. They said by 2016 we will have done with the railway. Some countries have not even started. You see, we talked about Uganda has had issues with just exporting something to Tanzania, sugar. You see, Rose. We've had this I think it was December. We had the scout camp, something in Burundi.
Mm.
Uganda was denied
was
access
denied.
to Burundi. So you can't talk about regional integration when all those issues are still happening. So the regional integration is not there. To me, it is not for now until we've had a common figure. You see, unless we first enroll out a common because now you see when you go to Tanzania, they have moved democratically a few steps that at least this leader is here for two terms. In Kenya it's happening, but these are the things. We have to first have a common ground, like a software. You see a computer. When there's no software, these parts you cannot even see that they are there, unless you have a software that is able to read all the things. So we need a common software. Let's say democracy. We first roll out all those things. We start small. We start with those things. Then these other things can really work. It's just something small. It's like if we have a computer, add it together without the software, you are forcing it. It won't work. So the same thing that is happening to regional integration.
So the regional integration, we're going to have institutions, but they will not be effective.
Yeah, we have the East African Parliament.
We have the court of law.
What is it doing?
So that is what we are going to see for a number of years.
Those things are just there for. There are people who benefit from them, but they are not for the people.
They are not for the East African people.
Because we expected that if I have issues with a neighboring state, I will run to East African Tribunal to solve my issues. But they have failed. You are seeing what's happening between Burundi and Rwanda. You are seeing what's happening between Uganda and Burundi. The deportation, those deportations, the accusation, everyone is saying you are sponsoring activities to my country, you are sponsoring labor activities, you are doing this, your people are illegally entering into my country. You are seeing how people are doing business. In the other day, Museveni ordered all Tanzanian miners, he said illegal miners from gold mines, to go back to their country. So those things, if they're still happening, it's like you can't really talk about regional integration.
All right. Talking still about issues that the president raised, corruption. We of recent saw the anti-corruption body headed by Lieutenant Colonel Nakalema confiscating funds. They raided the Wakiso offices. They confiscated funds, and to this day, some funds haven't been returned, and they have refused to return the funds. With Don Wanyama saying that, telling these people to go to the police.
I myself believe in that woman, Nakalema, unless she should be weakened by the big fishes, the big fish in a.
So you believe that the anti-corruption body is working?
Yes, it would. I think yes for now, because when something is starting, we will see it work. After some time, there's some big fish.
You mean the reality?
Of course now they are raiding. You've seen them in Ibunyoro. You've seen them here at Wakiso. But then I want them to go for the big fish. If you have this starting point that it is raised international and you are not working on it, you are going to those people that you see. Someone said the law is like a cobweb. A quarter will be enough. If you come and even if something is very big, you will come and
go through.
But then let a fly come.
So the anti-corruption unit is working. It's working for the lightweight.
It will come and go for the easy people that they can. But may want them to go to easy. We've seen scandals at OPM. Let them start with those.
We have the Foreign Affairs Ministry.
Yes, we have yes. Let them start with those. Then we will say, yes, they are working. We want to see them doing that. Of course, the president clarified that, yes, that these people are not colliding with the IGG or any other anti-corruption body. They're just assisting and, providing information to them and then follow up on those matters. That is, if that is it, then we okay. We are getting the information that because that's what many people wanted to hear And
But while we're closing, what are some of the stories you think, besides the anti-corruption body, some of the stories you think are going to follow into this year? We have Stella Nyanzi. That's
of course,
one of them.
I have information that Makere is planning another very big purge
in its
with
ranks.
academic staff. That a number of other people might be really laid off over issues. The vice chancellor was yesterday giving a brief on the university affairs, and he said that he will not allow any university member to give a bad publicity to the university that he leads. So some information from the university circles say they are planning another very big purge. We shall wait to see what's happening.
So for 2019, we're
the graduation thing that's happening in January, the university announced that over 4,000 people might miss over fees, that they have not paid the graduation fees, and it is past the deadline. So we are expecting to see what happens. Then we are seeing Bobi Wine again. You saw the other day when he dropped a video of Tuliyamba Lingule song, and we saw him. We saw him say that if you think 2018 has been serious, fasten your belt for 2019. We don't know what's going to happen in 2019, but then we are expecting another maybe very big. Of course, we've seen the president react back that he will not allow bad politics, leaders of defiance and things to happen. But there's something new. I don't know whether you've really given it attention, that the president is using another musician, which is maybe equally loved. I'll put equally loved in comma in quotes. I don't know, but we've seen him divide and rule.
Yes, he's using another musician to beat back the Bobi Wine musically.
And we will watch. We are there to watch. And yesterday, I told you about the crash. We're expecting a report from the CEA, Civil Aviation Authority, of what happened, what
led to the plane skidding
of the runway. We need the report, and because yesterday they launched investigations into that, so we are expecting to hear them say, what happened, and of course, another big story that we are expecting this year. Of course, the president said that he understands that unemployment is really so serious. It is so much onto Uganda that he said that he can sack over 10,000 people, and he replaces them the same day, and everyone is able to. We are able to see whether employment is really so much that you can even sack over how many, I don't know, but a number of people are not really employed. So we are expecting to see what the government has in the basket for us. How it's going to react to that kind of, that level
of unemployment in the
country. And then see, and very many other things. Of course, the Kosase thing, we're expecting a report, and we're expecting to see what the president, how the implementation of the report, because we've seen we are expecting what will come out in the report, and then, of course, we're expecting something is going to come out in the report, but then what's going to be the reaction of those who are supposed to implement the report recommendations? That's going to be a very big story. Then we are going to look at Kampala after Jennifer.
And before and during,
yes,
we shall be comparing
what the new leader is going to has for us, because this one we are still having an acting ED, but then after
we're waiting for an appointment,
for the president, and then what do they have for us that Jennifer didn't do, or adding on what she did? These are some of the big stories we are really waiting, and of course, we're waiting in new people, coming in from the entertainment industry, joining politics. We've seen Lord Mainja even quit. He says that he was worried that his colleagues could bring problems to his colleagues banning their
Music.
and what. So he said, let me quit now. You guys continue with your music. Me, I'm off. I'm off for politics. So maybe that was a wise
decision to
to
serve his peers.
the peers and what. So we are expecting more people to announce, because 2021 is not far. Not far. You need to come out so early
and set your intentions for.
Yes. So those are some of the events we are really going to look at, and more, of course, we shall be there to look at many others. And then the last thing that is happening, we are expecting to see the results of UNEP results, of course, and then how the government is going to react when the students are going back to school. To make sure whether they really go to make sure that schools that don't have the or who have not followed the
security procedures, especially because of
whether what they will do to them, because some schools are owned by the big fish in the
political circles
of the country. So we're waiting to see that also. And many other stories. Of course, how Parliament is going to go with of course, we're also expecting another age limit petition. That a lot of stories are going to happen, and we are there to see. And we just have to keep an open eye to many other events, and we see how it goes.
Well, to you out there, we have been looking at the biggest stories of the week and some of the stories that came from last year, 2018, and dragged on into 2019, while looking out for some of the stories that will be making headlines in 2019. Well, that was Javira Sewami. Thank you.
Thank you so much for inviting us.
Stay tuned to Google Day Television, because when we come back from the short break, we shall have the Standard Magazine. But first, let's go for how it's made. Stay tuned.